Hey, how we doing, fishy jerks? Hopefully we're live. Hey, everybody, how we doing? I don't think I need to introduce the man to my other direction because is he on my left or is he on my right? I don't know. He's on my left, but he's on your right, I believe. So, anyways, there's Lefty lots of numbers, as John from KG Properties likes to call him.
Good evening.
So we're going to do our normal thing here, everybody. For anybody, I don't see anybody in the chat that we haven't seen before, but just in case anybody's new, the whole first part of the stream, we're not really going to look at the chat at all. It's just going to be Lefty and I talking, and then half an hour or so in, then we'll look in the chat. So if you got questions for Lefty, hold them to the end. And remember, it's really not about fish. We're not here to learn about which fish Lefty has. We know he loves bettas and stuff, but we're not going to do that kind of stuff. We're going to learn more about Lefty himself. And do you want me to call you Lefty, or do you want me to call you by your first name?
I prefer Lefty when it's online.
We'll stick with Lefty. All right. So hey, everybody. I'm not going to go through and say hi to everybody separately. That takes forever, but I do see a ton of people, and it's always awesome to have all you guys in here with us. All right. Hi.
Hello.
Sorry. Had to get all that stuff out right away. All right. So let's see. I'm going to run down the things that I know about you just from watching your stream. Oh, by the way, I think I put Lefty's channel in the description, but I'm sure Big M or Bob or Mike or one of the awesome mods is going to put his links up. Lefty and Ed do a show on Fridays that's it's board games and card games, but then it's everything. It's a lot like the stream Ed and I do, and I got the idea pretty much. I'm not gonna lie. I got it from Lefty. It's basically the same show Lefty does on Friday as what Ed and I do on Monday, but our focus is comic books and whatever. Their focus is board games, just games in general. Now, do you play video games, Lefty?
I do. I've been a gamer since I was 5 or 4.
Gotcha.
N64 was the first console I personally owned, but I did play Super Nintendo, Sega Dreamcast, the regular Nintendo Entertainment System. So, been gaming for a while.
Gotcha. My first was Pong.
Oh.
It was a console. It came from Sears. It was like 1972.
Never played that one.
Yeah, that console was probably a phone from 20 years ago was probably more powerful than that console. What kind of games do you play now, computer game wise?
Now it's a lot of turn-based strategy or real-time strategy games.
Cool.
I'll pick up a first-person shooter here or there, but it's a lot of the strategy games mostly now.
Civilization 6 or Civilization series, right?
Yeah, Civ series, anything by Space Dock, so Galactic Civ, Since the Solar Empire. I just picked up a new one. What the heck's it called? It's another turn-based strategy, but
they got their start by making a shell for Windows so that you could change your Windows and make it look like something completely different. It ran over the top of Windows Explorer. So it's interesting that they branched out from that tool that they made and got into games and did it very successfully. They've got some great games.
Yeah.
All right. So, I was going to go over the things I knew about you. Yeah, I get distracted very easily. So I know you live in Connecticut.
Yes.
I know you work at a school. What do you do at the school?
So I'm a building substitute. So it's basically a substitute teacher, but instead our district doesn't do district-wide subs. We do building-based subs. So there's 3 at my building, 3 at the other elementary school, 3 at the middle school, 3 at the high school. So I go to one building every day at 7:30. I go to the office. They're like, here's a Post-it note. These are the classrooms you're going to, or you're covering this class all day. Or if I'm lucky, they just go, we don't have anything for you, and I get paid for 8 hours to do nothing.
Nice. Yeah, you can't beat that.
So yeah, I work with pre-K through 6.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad because once you start, my wife did that for a while here, and she hated it. She absolutely hated it. But I don't like other people's kids very much. So, and she's the same way. Dealing with other people's kids is very difficult, especially once they get past that sixth grade and they're into the, start getting to teenagers.
We had some tough sixth graders last year. There was one day at the end of because we had 2 new sixth grade teachers last year. Didn't really know the whole classroom management way of how to control the kids, so it was just rampant. There was one time, me and one of the climate advisors are literally holding the door closed with all of our weight, with like 8 sixth graders trying to bust out the doors just to run through the halls, and we're like, "This is insanity!"
Wow.
Yeah, it was just crazy, super disrespectful. Didn't want to work. It was.
See, I can't even imagine I've got 3 kids. They're all older. They're all adults. My oldest is 30. He's older than you are. I could be your daddy. Yeah, that sounded gross. They're all old. They're all adults. I mean, but we never had any behavioral issues throughout. Yeah, I just can't even imagine. How do you get to that?
Weird.
Kids?
I think the problem is now a lot of the parents view school as a public daycare.
Yeah.
So whenever there's a problem, oh, my kid doesn't act like that. My kid would never do that. It's the teacher's fault that they're doing that. Now, last year, my first year, we had a teacher decide, you know what, I'm just not going to show up to work. So they were rotating all of us in and out of this first grade classroom. I was the 3rd building sub to get it. So by the time I got out there, it was like freaking It was just insanity. The kids were ballistic. I was stabbed with a pencil. I was bit twice. I was kicked, punched, whatever you can imagine, by these little first graders.
Wow.
For the month of October, November, and December. After the second time I got bit, the principal was like, yeah, we won't put you in there again.
Wow. What the hell? But Connecticut is like old school, like Compton or something. I mean, that's amazing.
And it's like they tell the parents that their kids did this, and the parents just are like, okay, whatever. Like, because I eventually got put within school suspensions, and the kids get told, okay, mom or dad is coming to pick you up. They'll be here by noon. Well, noon shows, no parent. 12:30, 1 o'clock. We dismiss at 2:30. 2 o'clock rolls around. I'm saying, okay, I'm bringing you back to class. Get ready for dismissal. Because mom and dad get called, and they're like, oh, we can't leave work. You'll have to deal with it.
Oh. I hate to say it, but I can understand that because a lot of people are working those jobs that are, by the hour, or if they leave, they can lose their job. So I guess that's hard. I get that. And part of the reason those kids probably are the way they are is because today both parents have to work. Now, I don't think the woman should stay home or whatever. I'm not saying that, but I do think that we shouldn't have both parents working. Either the mother or the father should be staying home with the kids when they're young like that. It's unfortunate that in our society that's
we're like a city, so we have a lower income section. So we have a lot of single parents, divorced parents, so it's tougher on them.
Yeah.
It kind of get a little sympathetic, but at the same time, it's like your kid is picking up chairs and desks and throwing them at other students.
I would
say to my boss, hey, there's a problem with my kid. I got to go deal with it. If your boss has a problem with you leaving because your child has got an issue, maybe not the best place to work.
Yeah. But some people don't have options.
Yeah, some people don't. I am.
You got bit.
Yes.
I can't even fathom that.
It was premeditated because they had me in there, 2 our literacy and math chair in there, and another subber. We had 4 adults in the room. I'm the only guy. Now, the kid is punching on one of the women. I'm like, I don't want them to get beat up, so I step in between them. Now, the kid has his fist going for one of the little girl's faces. I'm figuring, okay, he's going to punch me. No, he stops mid-punch, opens his jaw, and clamps down on my arm.
Jesus.
I'm like, come on, just hit me instead of bite me.
Man, I'm speechless. I've heard
first graders. First graders, so they're like 6 years old.
That's just amazing. And it's only going to get worse unless something happens.
Yes, and now that they're in 2nd grade and they have actual committed teachers, they've gotten better.
Oh, that's good. Because the teacher becomes the discipline.
Exactly. And that was the thing. The other two building subs weren't applying any kind of discipline to the room. So when I got in there, I was like, I'm not going to let these kids do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So we started doing lessons again, and we actually were like, if you're going to act out, you're going to get punished. And they didn't like that authority figure being back in the classroom. So I just get beat up on by 6-year-olds.
Lefty laying down the hammer and getting beat up by 6-year-olds. All right, so we know what you do, and I'm going to move on now. And we know you live in Connecticut. How big is your town roughly?
It's a small. We're a city, but we're a small city. We probably got a population of, I don't know, 40,000 maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
so we're one of the smaller cities.
Gotcha. Okay, so not a small town, but an actual city. Okay.
Yeah, we're city size. My hometown where I grew up in was only a population of like 22,000, but it was more rural, so we had more like woods areas and less built up commercialized crap.
Yeah, we have about 1,500 in our little village. We're in a village.
Oh,
so it's a tiny little place. What about family? Before we even dig into that, how is your mom? Is she doing a lot better? Everything going okay?
She's doing good. Yeah, she's up and moving. Staples are all out. So she's recovering nicely now.
Okay, that's good. So it's always scary, So just wanted to.
Oh yeah, this was a lot more that had to be done than we thought initially. So,
well, I'm glad that she's on the mend. And
yes, thank you for that, and thank you for filling in that Friday with Ed and James. It was appreciated.
No problem. At least I can do. It's always fun, anyways, with those guys. So it's not like it's any kind of chore. Yeah, it's not a chore in any way. So do you have any sisters or brothers or?
I have one older sister. We're 15 years apart. She's from Dad's first marriage.
Wow.
He got married at 21 the first time. They were together for 9 years and 11 months or something like that. And then he met my mom a few years later. So we're 15 years apart, but we've never thought of each other as half sister and brother or stepsister or anything like that. We've just always been bro and sis. She has a husband, so I have a brother-in-law, I have a niece, and then I have like 20 cousins and 10 to 12 second cousins and a couple third cousins.
And people that you see, it's family that you know and that you
Most of the family is still in Connecticut. We've only had a couple move away, so every Christmas and Thanksgiving we all get together at one of the aunt's houses, and about 30 of us. It's a nice big group.
Now, I remember you saying this. What is your difference between an aunt and an aunt? Wasn't that you that had a?
Oh well, I have an aunt.
One who's an aunt and one who's an aunt.
I have an aunt whose name is Debbie. Saying Aunt Debbie just sounds weird, or Aunt Debbie. Aunt Debbie just doesn't roll off my tongue, so I just say aunt.
Oh, okay. It's not. There's nothing to it.
No, there's nothing to it. It's just the way it sounds to me.
Oh, okay.
I know aunt is the proper English way to say it, but aunt works better for me with that one.
Okay, gotcha. I thought maybe that you didn't like her as much, so one was the aunt and one was the aunt or something like that. But it's okay, Debbie. You're all right. We all like you. Look at all the people. There's still a ton of people. Everybody coming to celebrate Lefty.
Hello, chat. I'm not supposed to look at you yet, so I'm keeping you off to the other monitor.
Let me just. I want to check something here. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure your channel was being put in there. So, yep, I definitely see it. Cool. All right. So, 15 years is quite spread. I said, my oldest is 30 and my youngest is 19. So, we tried to have them 4 to 5 years apart, and we came pretty close. The three of them.
Yeah, my grandmother, my mom's mother, it was like every 9 months she was getting pregnant. So they're all within like 9 to 10 months of each other.
Yeah. That's how
my mom's one of 6. My dad's one of 5.
Wow.
My mom was almost one of 9, but my grandmother ended up having 3 miscarriages. So the family could have been bigger.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's old school Catholic for you.
I was going to ask. Yep. Because my dad's side was the same way. There was 7 of them, but one passed away in childbirth. And my dad just passed away not that long ago too, and he was up there. But my mom's side, there was only the 2 of them. So it was a weird combination. That one side there's just a ton of them, and they're all Scottish. And then my mom's side, there's just a few of them, and they're all Italian. So it was just a weird combination.
I'm a combo of both of those. I'm 6 or 7 different nationalities.
Oh, you're American.
Yes, I'm a mutt.
All right. So I know you went to school. You're, I believe, you have a degree in political science.
Yes, I have a bachelor's and a master's in political science.
Very nice. And where did you get that from? Or I mean, if you don't want to answer any of these, you can just pass.
Oh no, Southern New Hampshire online.
Okay, cool.
And I'm getting a master's in American history right now as well.
Wow. And do you have plans to actually teach, or?
My goal is to be a college professor.
Nice.
The problem with that is, I would say 60% of the schools want you to have a PhD. And I don't think I'm ready for that level of commitment yet.
Yeah.
Because that's like about the average of like 8 years to get one. So for right now, I'm just going to lay low and finish up a couple masters, and hopefully I can get something at community college. That, or looking at getting certified to teach public school in Connecticut. Or anywhere for that matter.
I could not do it.
I've always wanted like high school level or higher. So high schoolers, I think I could handle a bit more than, these little children.
See, I would have thought it was the other way until I heard your stories. I would have thought the high school kids were like, way worse. But you've already been bitten. I mean, what else?
Yeah, what else could happen?
I mean, you've already seen the worst of it. So that's amazing. So what other kind of jobs have you had? Was it just this so far since you graduated? What, 4 years ago? No, you just got your diploma.
I just got my master's this past July.
Okay.
And I got the bachelor's the December right before that. Before I went to school in 2010 to an actual college brick and mortar campus. I worked in the broadcast engineering department. So I ran a production studio basically, because I was in Maine, and they have 6 University of Maines that are scattered throughout the state, and they all incorporated like distance learning programs where a teacher at the furthest north one would broadcast live to the other schools.
Gotcha.
So I ran our local broadcast studio.
Cool.
After that,
you and Dan from Dan's Fish. He was going to be a professor, and he also was. Well, he was involved in theater. So close, but you guys have a lot in common. Anyways,
and then let's see. After that, I was Walmart.com customer service.
No,
I was called a lady several times, and
really?
their rule is the customer's always right, so you can't argue with them.
But at least you weren't bitten there.
It's true.
If you had to go to the store, you probably would have been. But I mean, at least you don't get bitten online.
I had the safety of being behind a phone or computer screen.
I've done that. I was an IT guy for 25 years, and did a lot of different stuff. But I did just support for State Farm Insurance, and so I.
Oh, so you're Jake.
What's that?
You're Jake from State Farm, then.
Yeah, I am.
I do also have a degree in IT as well.
Oh,
information tech with a certification in desktop support. Hasn't come in useful at all for finding a job.
I never got any certifications the whole time. I never got an A+. I never did any of those. I never needed them in any of the jobs, and I had some pretty good, some pretty decent jobs. The one place I worked when I retired. I worked for the one of the local county governments, but before that, I worked for a liquor distributor that we shipped out millions of dollars of liquor every single night. It was pretty high stress, but it was a good paying job. So, but I never had to get any certs or anything the whole time, the whole 25 years.
That one was rolled into the degree. I thought about getting my A+ or Cisco, but I just never went that route since I got the other jobs.
And I mean, do you have a interest in political science?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's something that does really interest you then. Same with history then, I guess.
I've always, in school, my best subjects were always the social studies or the sciences. I was terrible at math, terrible at English, which never made sense to my teachers because math and science are supposed to be the same hemispheres of the brain, and English and history are supposed to be the same hemispheres. I would get straight A's in history and science. I would get straight C's in the other two. So I was a conundrum to my teachers. They're like, this makes no sense. You're great at these subjects. You should be good at the other ones. And math just doesn't click with me. I just tried to take the practice certification tests for reading or for writing, and I bombed the hell out of it because I couldn't tell one word from the other word or what was wrong with it because my grammar is terrible.
But I bet you it's because you just weren't that interested in those things, but you were interested in those other,
Well, I shared George Washington's birthday, so I have to be interested in history.
Yeah. I like history too. That was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, I took that
not so much, but
I guess history.
Go ahead.
I took the history certification practice and the political science one, and I got all the questions right. So that's definitely. I need to brush up on the science though because I didn't do so hot on those. I couldn't tell you the last time I had to look through a freaking microscope and tell you how it magnifies something.
Yeah, me neither. All right. What about? We know that you play video games. We know that you like board games and Pokemon stuff. What are some of your other hobbies that you like to do besides keeping fish? Actual
fishing out in nature.
Very cool. Yeah.
We go out every opening day here and we fish for trout. We only do trout fishing. We really don't go for the bass or anything crazy like that. Connecticut also stocks the crap out of the rivers, so it's easier to catch trout here.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Archery. I'm big into the archery, both traditional and compound. I own a long bow, 2 recurves, and a compound bow. Better with the compound the other two, but I'm getting there with the other ones.
And archery just for archery, or do you hunt as well?
Both.
Okay.
I do both. I was the archery tournament chair at my archery club for a while, so we did the 3D targets that you can get. So I would plan the course out, set up all the shots, try to make it as realistic as possible. So that was a fun thing to do for a couple of years until I had a disagreement with the board and I said, screw you, I'm leaving.
I always say that I'm not looking at the chat, and I'm scanning it every once in a while, and I always say I'm not going to take any questions while we're doing this, but there's a question that I think needs to be answered from Peplin that I don't think we should wait on. And he said, I missed the story about how he got his name from a bicycle seat mishap as a kid.
So the name...
It's your AOL, right?
Yes.
AOL? Yep.
Back in the day when you used to have to pay for your internet service through AOL or Earthlink or one of those programs, and you had to use your phone line. I think I was 4 or 5 when that happened. My neighbor's cat's name was Lefty, so I put that in as my username, and then AOL was like, this username's taken. Here's a bunch of random numbers. So it used to be just the 3213 without the A. Then at some point I forgot the password, so I just added an A to the end of it because it was the first letter of the alphabet. And it's just stuck with me for the past 20-something years. So if you see that username on any platform or game, 99% chance that it's going to be me.
There is a Lefty on YouTube that's like he's close to your name. There's no A, and I can't remember what the series of numbers are, but it's close to yours because I was looking up your channel one time and found him instead. Oh. And I can't remember what they did. I don't remember what the basis of the channel was for, but so there is somebody out there, and I love that John calls you Lefty lots of numbers. I definitely have picked that up, and I call you that too all the time.
I've told him that just Lefty is fine. Lisa has no problem just saying Lefty, but he's gotta be quirky and add the extra part to it.
And I know everybody in the chat knows, but Lefty does mod for them on their channel on KG Tropicals, and let's see, Fish Room Fever, and someplace else. Where else do you?
Ed. Blake's Aquatic, Soprano, Aquamate. There's a couple other ones.
Oh, so you got the end with the Aussie.
Yeah, I think Blake was the first one to give me a wrench. Then Prawny saw that I got one. That's usually what happens because it happened on Twitch. I used to be a big Twitch moderator for the Smite community, which is an online MOBA. And once you get it in one channel, when the other people see that you have it, it's like, oh, these guys trusted you with it. Here's a mod. Here's mod in this one. At one point, I modded for 40 plus Twitch channels.
Jeez.
And it was like, wasn't working, so it was fine. It was just crazy.
That's a little bit too much, though, and it seems like because you do have a sense of responsibility, right? When you in the chat, you want to share the stuff, and not that I see too many in most of the streams we go, and there's not a lot of
Twitch was definitely more managing like just jerks in the chat, whereas YouTube it's just like, oh, they referenced this video. Let's see if I can beat Zen Ginger and Candy at getting the link for the video.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Which is why I was smart and made Word documents for the streamers that I have mods in, so I can just copy and paste the stuff they ask for all the time.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, Candy's still so fast at it.
I have beaten Candy once. Only one time have I beaten Candy.
You know, I just thought about it. I don't think I've seen Candy in a few days. I must not have been in the stream she was in.
I will say I've been not as involved because now that I'm back to work and getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, because we're the early school, so we go from 7:30 to 2:30, whereas the other school goes from 8:30 to 3:30.
The other school being
we have 2 elementary schools in my town or city.
So
we're the early school for like the working parent, whereas the other one is for the parents that don't have to go to work until later in the afternoon.
That's sort of weird that they have separate.
It is
like that. Yeah,
it is very strange.
I mean, and they don't service the same exact area though, right?
We are within a quarter of a mile of each other.
That's friggin' weird. I mean,
my school used to be grades 3, 4, and 5, and the other school was K1, 2.
Okay.
But because we were a failing district by the state's standards, we had 2 options. Redistrict and make both elementary schools K through 6, or fire all the teachers that were doing a terrible job. They would have ended up having to fire like half of the staff across the district. And we pay terribly, so no one wants to work here. So they were like, you know what? Okay, we're going to redistrict it. So that's how we ended up being an early school, and they got to be the actual. Because normally elementary schools here 8:30 is they're going to go in, whereas the high school is the earlier time. So we're on the same time schedule as the high school.
Gotcha. All right, so that makes more sense. It's
weird when you talk about it without explaining the back, because people are like, you have 2 elementary schools and they're different times. It's like, my hometown had 5 elementary schools.
I lived in Arizona for a long time, and there's tons of them, but they were always behind, always. My oldest son in first grade had like 67 kids in his class with one teacher and a teacher's aide.
Wow.
And the classrooms were these trailers, these
the portables
homes that they put out in the playground.
Yep.
Because they were just so overwhelmed. The school districts were overwhelmed. It's a big reason why we left Arizona. We
had to put those in my high school because we had to build an extra elementary school at one point to give us 6. And then we have 2 middle schools and 1 high school. We had to renovate the high school and add portables before my class went, because my graduating class was 975 kids.
Wow.
And we have 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Yeah. So the other class sizes were like 500 to 600, but we were the biggest class in history to go through my high school. So they had to add corners to the building. They had to add portables with 4 extra. We ended up adding like maybe 20 extra rooms, and we were still overcrowded.
Wow.
But the average class size was, like, depending on if it was an elective, you had maybe 20 to 24, but 27 was about the average we had in a room.
There must have been a very extended power outage or something, the year you were born, for that increase. I mean, what explains the increase in the
I don't know. I mean, we also, the cutoff for the school for like kindergarten, the cutoff was strange. So we had a few 91 babies in my class. The bulk were 92. So you'd have to go back to 1991 and figure out what maybe all the soldiers coming back from the Gulf War.
You just made me feel really old. Really, really old.
Hey, I just found out it's the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. I feel old.
That's funny. All right. So what's been like one of your proudest or happiest days of your entire life so far? And you're 29.
I will be in a couple weeks.
Okay. When in March?
February 22nd.
Oh, we're close. I'm March 3rd, so we're pretty close. So you'll be 29 soon. In your 29 years, what so far has been like your happiest or proudest moment? Was it school?
Yeah, probably finishing the bachelor's.
Yeah.
Because that was a hurdle that I was stuck on. Because I graduated in 2010 from high school, and I didn't get it until 2019. So there was a hump there because we had family stuff going on. So just finally getting that, I guess, probably. And because I pushed myself, because Southern New Hampshire, it's 2 classes at once. They're 8 weeks, or they're 7 weeks long, and that's considered full-time. That wasn't challenging enough, so I upped it to 3 classes at once. That wasn't challenging enough, so I did double the full-time course load, finished an entire bachelor's in 16 months. So that's probably been, the proudest I've been with myself.
And then that's definitely something to be proud of. That's quite the accomplishment. So congratulations.
They wanted me to do a commercial at Southern New Hampshire. I said, no, I'm good.
Why? That would have been awesome. That would have been so awesome just to, you could have shared it out. Hey, look at me. That would have been so cool. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, because I opted have you seen the commercials for New Hampshire before, where the bus comes around and gives you your diploma? Well, they did this commercial thing where a big blue bus with the school colors and everything came around and like handed you your diploma. So it was like a month and a half before I was finishing. I said to my advisor, I said, "So is the bus gonna come give me my diploma?" And she's like, "No, unfortunately, that was just a publicity stunt." So I was like, "Oh man, that sucks." I was like, "Can I come pick it up and can you give me a tour of the campus?" She's like, "Sure, I can do that." And then once she got the approval from her boss to actually leave for the day and give me the tour, her boss was like, "Well, ask him if he wants to swing by the marketing department while he's up here."
You should have done it, man.
But I was like, I'm expecting a small campus because Southern New Hampshire, they advertise as being an online college. So I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be small like the one I went to in Maine that only had like 1,500 kids at it. We pull up to the campus. It's like its own city. I felt like I was pulling into one of the state schools here where they have their own traffic light system, parking lots everywhere. They just finished building an aerospace building that's partnered with NASA when we were going up to get my diploma. So it was kind of cool to see the campus.
Nice. That's one thing about New York. There's a lot of stuff you could say bad about it, but when it comes to education, they really do it right. There's a lot of very, very good SUNY schools. State University of New York.
To work at those.
There's one not too far from us that does a meteorology class, and
you're near Rochester, right?
Yeah, right. I'm between Rochester and Syracuse.
I believe one of my friends is going to the SUNY up there.
Oswego, probably.
Yes, that's the one.
They're all over. The Oswego one is the one that has the good meteorology one.
Yeah, that's the one he's going to. Yeah, I used to go to your area all the time. I used to go to Buffalo like every other week or every 3 weeks. I had friends up there.
Sorry to hear that. I'm not a fan of any of the cities, really.
Yeah,
Buffalo's got a scent that I don't care for, and it's not.
The water tasted funny too.
Rochester, it's just not I don't know. I like where we live. The cities make fun of where we live, but they do that all the time, right? The cities always make fun of the rural areas. Well, but I absolutely love it. There's no crime. The air is clean. We live in a place that's surrounded by state park land, so there's not going to be any growth around our house. It's just it's pristine for this side of the country. It's usually the kind of stuff that you see in Oregon and Washington and stuff like that, where there's lots of land away from people. So
yeah.
All right. What about foods? Is there any kind of food that you really just crave, or any kind of food that you really just hate? Either one?
Probably none that I hate. I'm not super fond of sushi. I never found a really good sushi place that has been able to thrill my taste buds.
All right, everybody, that's it. Well, let's have a good night.
I don't mind it, but I mean, I'm just like, when people are like, oh, let's go out for sushi. I'm like, maybe I'll get something else on the menu, but it's like, it's not the first thing that I think of. Favorite food? I say depression food.
Comfort foods, like,
yes, so things like because my grandmother went through the depression, so it was cheap meals, anything you could cheap, like tuna noodle casserole, or like we make shepherd's pie, where it's like if you had a blend and broil the night before and you have enough left over, you grind it up super thin and you make mashed potatoes and eat it that way with some corn in it. Yeah. So like I call it depression food because it's stuff my grandmother made when she had to feed 6 kids, herself and her husband, with a nickel.
See, I thought you meant like depression, like I'm depressed, not the depression.
Yeah, I don't know how else. Comfort food. Yeah, well, it's kind of like comfort food. I just don't know how else to word it because it's food that she learned to make during the depression, where he had to make 2 pieces of something last.
Yeah,
feed the whole family.
Yeah, carp soup. I do love my sushi. All right, and last one. How about music? Are you a big fan of music? Is there any genre of music that you like or dislike, or is it a big part of your life at all, really?
I probably have the widest variety of music tastes possible. I can listen to classical music and then switch to pop music. I can go from pop music to country music to folk music. I love Simon and Garfunkel. I love Peter, Paul, and Mary. I like John Denver. Anything from the 60s, pretty much, I like. The only music I'm not a big fan of is rap. Certain rap I can, when it's more of like the spoken word rap, like 21 Pilots does, I can handle it. But like full on, here's a slur of words that make no sense unless you slow it down and listen to it. I don't go for that. But yeah, I'll pretty much listen to anything. I love music. When I study, I put on Bach all the time. I like classical music. I like Baroque the most out of the periods, but classical and country are probably the 2 I listen to most.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's I'm pretty much, the same way. I do like, and I don't care for rap. And the reason I don't like rap really is I don't like poetry. Now I know that's weird because lyrics are just basically poetry, right? But I don't care for poetry, and to me, rap is poetry. Even when I'm reading a book. And there might, I really like a lot of fantasy books and stuff. And a lot of times they have lyrics to songs or poetry to start off the chapter. I always skip it. I don't even look at it. I just go right past it. I can't stand it. But I do like pretty much, like you said, every other genre. Pop music, some of it's pretty good. But I definitely there's a lot of good new folk music. There's a lot of really good bands that have been out in the last, decade that are really good. So that's pretty cool. Well, that's all of my questions. So I think now's a good time. We can open up. And that's just about a half an hour. That worked out good. Let's open it up to the chat. Again, everybody, hi. Sorry that I didn't look at the chat before. People that said hi. Again, I say this every time. When I go to a live stream, I like it when the people are talking to the chat and interacting. So we'll do that part now, and I apologize to anybody whose questions or comments or anything I missed earlier. So if you've got any questions, now's the time. Anthony's Fishy Friends, I'll start right there. Who is your favorite classical composer?
I'd probably go with Bach.
Okay.
Or cop out and say Beethoven.
You can, if you want to look at the chat too and pick questions, don't feel like I need to.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Okay. Let's see.
Now you said you weren't big on poetry. What about short stories? Like an Edgar Allan Poe short story.
Not really. I always, even stuff like the science fiction anthologies and stuff. I always feel like there's too much left out. I prefer big epic books that are, there's 10 books in the series and each one's, 1,200 pages long. If I'm going to read, which I do read quite a bit, I try to do 100 books a year, and I usually get
wow.
So I love to read, and I just don't. Yeah, I don't care for short stories or even like compilations or anything like that. I don't know why. I can't explain why. my kids always ask me, well, why don't you like rap? Because like my daughter's a huge 21 Pilots fan. And when they start rapping, I always want to turn it off. And it sounds like they're being all whiny to me. They just sound very whiny.
It depends on the song they do for me. I can't listen to all of it, but some of it I do like.
All right, let's see.
We had a question about if I think Head Start would help with the kids. We do have Head Start here. I think it's a great program, but clearly it still doesn't work very well for our kids.
Yeah, if they're already going through it.
The problem is a lot of single parents. We had one kindergartner last year. His dad was in jail for the first 6 years of his life. So when he came out and came back, the kid was completely different and started acting out, wasn't listening to any girl or woman in the school, started treating them like dirt. And it was like, oh, daddy came back, so now women are terrible.
Oh.
So I had to physically sit in the classroom and just stare at him so he would pay attention to the teacher. It'd be like he would always look at me to make sure I'm like, listen to her. And then he would turn back around and do what she was telling him to do. It was just weird.
You know, and again, 90% of all that behavior is learned at home. It really is. I have a funny story real quick about Head Start. When we moved from Arizona to New York, they let my daughter into the system because, Head Start is really you can't really make a whole lot of money to get your kids into it, right? It's very low income. But they only took the income we had in New York at the time. They didn't count Arizona. And at the time, it was zero. We just got here. And so they let my daughter into it. And I thought it was a really good – I wish they opened it up for more kids to get into because I really think it does help. But one day I got a phone call at work, and they said that my daughter was sick. And she had thrown up at school at Head Start, and I need to come pick her up. So I get there, I walk in, and first of all, the place smells like really bad broccoli. It just stunk like bad broccoli. And I get to her, and I said, "Oh, baby, what's wrong? You okay?" And she, because again, she's, I don't know, 6 years old, something like that. I don't know. I can't even remember how old she was. Very young though, right? And she said, "My friend passed the broccoli." Her friend was sitting next to her. They were eating lunch, and her friend just put the broccoli in front of her, and she instantly just threw up all over everything. And I could smell it. They were feeding these kids bad broccoli. But to this day, I always remind her about my friend passed the broccoli. That's all she said. It's unfortunate though that other kids can't get into it.
Yeah. Anthony was asking if I play any instruments. That's a good question I haven't gotten before. I do. I play the clarinet.
Nice.
Always wished I could play the piano, but never actually tried.
I think my wife played the clarinet. We have one here. My daughter's very musical. She's got she plays mostly string stuff, guitar, ukulele, but she does have some other stuff. There was another one there too. Oh yeah, Big M. What would you like to be known for?
Oh, that's a interesting one.
He comes up with some good ones.
Known for. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I couldn't answer it. I don't care if I'm known. I just want my kids to remember me well. That's all.
Known for. I don't know, being a good person, I guess.
You stumped them. You stumped them. Good job. Geek Boy said, so if it's not the Wheel of Time, don't bother. He was directing that to me. Pretty much, yeah. I like big, epic romps. It's sci-fi, fantasy, anything. I just like a big, epic, something I can really sink my teeth into because I read pretty fast. So, Mr. Kaler, long-term relationships. Short-term relationships.
None lately. The last three didn't end well, but not for the reason you would think. It wasn't a breakup or anything. It was other Grim Reaper-esque things that occurred.
Oh.
We'll just leave it at that so we don't depress the chat.
So ladies, stay away from Lefty. People seem to die All right, let's see. You got the instruments. Fishy Mom was here, and again, I apologize to all the people that come in and say hi. Hi, everybody.
Yes,
There's
hello.
Bob Guppy.
Just blanket hello to chat.
Yeah, because there's just so many people, and it would take forever to say hi and everybody. So
I honestly didn't know that they used plastic reeds. I've always known about the wood bamboo ones. So
I didn't even see that one. It jumped on me here.
I don't think it was a highlighted. Was it? I don't think it was highlighted. I don't know.
All right, there we go. There's Peter. Clarinet. Okay, yeah, there you go. Let us hear it sometime, Maria. She wants to hear you play the clarinet sometime.
I'll have to find it. We moved a few years ago. I don't think I've unearthed it yet. So it's somewhere in a box.
I agree, though. I don't know if everybody in the chat knows it, but Big M, Midrell, does a lot of composing and creating music. That's very awesome, and you should go listen to his stuff. But
It's cool.
maybe you guys could collaborate.
We can see.
All right. We need a fish tuber concert.
We had a fish tuber game night first. We've been talking about that for months now.
Yeah, I would love to do that. If I wish there was some way we could, tabletop simulator or something.
Yeah, Ed had a decent idea with Wingspan. As long as you have the actual game, we could technically play it with our webcams pointing at our cards or our board, and then we could just have our own like communal things or something. We'd have to figure out the details, but we could probably do that.
Yeah, I would love to do something like that.
I don't know that Ed could handle tabletop simulator.
Yeah, you're probably right. He's the first to admit that he's technically challenged, so he might not even want to mess with it too much.
What do I drive? Thank you, John. Well, I used to drive a Subaru Forester. That was my first car. Well, that car, when I was living in Maine. They have a rule up there when it comes to plowing roads. They don't have to plow after the last street on the last house on the street. And one of the roads I was taking to work at that last house went from paved to dirt and gravel, and it was maybe a half a mile of that to get to the next road. I worked on the old Loring Air Force Base up there. And one night I was coming home. It was icy. I had my all-weather tires on my car. I hit a pothole. The car bounced, proceeded to turn, fall on the driver's side, and slide 30 yards into an embankment of snow.
Wow.
I only lost my mirror. I had to at this point it was -20 out. I couldn't open the windows because they're frozen shut. So I had to take a frozen Mountain Dew bottle, prop open the passenger side door, climb out the car, then open my trunk, which was a hatchback, crawl in without breaking the glass to look for my phone to try and call someone. Now, I'm from Connecticut. AT&T doesn't have towers up there.
Oh, no.
So I start walking back to work in -20. No one is going to be in the building because it's closed. I get 1 bar of service. I tried calling my sister on her work phone, who always answers her work phone, except when I get in a car accident. So I was like, well, fuck, I don't know where the hell I am. I don't know these roads. So I called 911. They connected me to the local cops. I told them where I was, and they're like, okay, we'll send someone out. Are you hurt? I'm like, no, I'm fine. They get there. They check me over. Like, yeah, he's fine. They call the local the tow guy. He looks me right in the eyes like, you want to drive this car home? While it's still on its side. I'm like, can I? He's like, yeah, I'll flip it over and you can drive it home. I was like, why don't you look at it first?
Yeah. Just a little.
The bill cost more than it did to fix the car. So that was my first car. Now I drive my grandmother's Buick Century because the timing belt went in the Forester because we didn't get it to the garage in time.
when you said a Subaru, I went, uh-oh, because in Mob Guppies, Peter, in his live streams, they make a lot of jokes about Subarus, and Subarus are not very popular in his stream. And I know that he's in here. So, and hey, if anybody gets a chance, you really should check out Peter's streams too. I can't remember. It's Sunday and geez, no, not Sunday. Peter, if you're here, tell us what days you stream. That's always interesting. He does a lot of guppies. I've got actually some of his swordtail guppies. That's always a fun stream, though. A lot of cool people in there.
Cool.
Okay, did you see another one?
Yes. RB asked if I collect any toys. Now, what are we defining as a toy, first of all? I'll be talking about like an action figure or something else, because I don't collect action figures. I do collect lots of Pokemon things, though. I don't know if that would be considered a toy.
Yeah, I think anything that would be, maybe initially for kids. But that's not true, because even some statues that aren't really for kids are toys. But yeah, definitely something like that. Pokemon, I think, would be considered a toy.
Well, I collect the Pokemon figures that they came out with, like the hard plastic ones the Pokemon Center sells. I just got back into the card collecting about 2 months ago now, in December. I didn't realize how much Pokemon cards were going for these days, so I started collecting those again. Other than that, I really don't collect toys. I have a lot of manga, but those aren't toys. Those are just books.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it on the toys, really. Just Pokemon stuff.
And Lefty streams on Twitch for Pokemon stuff, if anybody's interested there.
Yes, I do. Gaming streams on Twitch, and then lately I've just been opening up cards because people actually like watching other people open cards. It's a weird thing that's happened.
Yeah. My youngest son is very much into it. I think my oldest son still likes Pokemon too. Like I said, he's 30, so
I better like it. I got 2 Pokemon tattoos.
I can't remember. My son has a few tattoos, and I can't remember. He's got an Adventure Time one.
Could never.
He's got a Pokemon one. Okay. Let's see. Looks like Tom Patterson is next. Who influenced Lefty to be a teacher, and what brand of compound bow? You got a double there.
Okay, well, the brand of compound bow is a Missions by Matthews. So my dad has a Hoyt, so we got both major companies covered. I prefer the Matthews one, though, because it's an easier to pull. It's also a newer model. As far as influencing me to teach, probably, this is going to sound really cop-out-ish, but every teacher I had except for one, all the way from kindergarten through high school. I knew by the end of elementary school I wanted to be a teacher. It was just then reaffirmed by my middle school teachers, and even more so reaffirmed by high school. And I remember the first education class I took, the first class, the professor asked us, raise your hand if you've never had a problem with a teacher. And I was the only one that rose my hand. He's like, you mean to tell me in 13 years of public education, you liked every single teacher? And I was like, yeah, I think there was only one. I was like, except for one, only one teacher I didn't like. And that's because she just didn't like me. It was a reading teacher. I had dropped my pen in the middle of a test, so I was bending over to pick it up. She gave me a detention saying I was trying to cheat off my neighbor for picking up my pen. I got her again in 8th grade as a reading teacher. I went from a B to an F from progress report to report card, which is like 3 weeks. She lost my packet with my entire half a year's worth of work in it and tried to tell the principal and my mother that I didn't turn it in.
Wow.
Now, I was a bit of a teacher's pet, including the principal, so the principal loved me. My mother did Teachers Appreciation Week, where she would go in and like cook them food. So the principal was like, I'll give you a chance to redo it. Now, my mother sat down with me and was asking me the questions. She was like, once she knew I knew the answer, she was like, okay, clearly you did the work the first time. I put the work in the teacher's mailbox. She said she never got it. Now, my mother and the entire office staff saw me put it in the mailbox. So this teacher tried to give me an F. I went to the principal, who also saw me put the work in the mailbox. The principal made her change my grade to a passing grade.
What did you do to her?
Who knows?
You had to do something. You did.
Like me.
You looked like somebody you didn't like, or you looked like somebody that killed her rabbit or something.
Yes.
You did something somehow to that woman. I mean, why would she go through all of that? There had to be, unless she was just a horrible person, decided maybe every year she picked one kid just to
like when I had her in 7th grade, I had like a couple friends in the class, so I guess we would talk a lot. But when it was work time, we wouldn't. And then I had her again in 8th grade, and she asks me the first day of 8th grade, she's like, "Do you want to switch reading teachers?" And I look at her, I'm like, "Why would I switch?" She's like, "Oh, because we didn't have a good year last year." And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." So maybe I should have switched, but I really don't care. So yeah, all my teachers have influenced me to be a teacher.
I don't remember any of my teachers, but that was a very long time ago. So
I used to be able to recite every teacher I had from kindergarten to 12th grade,
wow,
including my actual schedules from first period to 8th in high school. I don't think I can do that anymore.
Oh, I do remember a teacher I had, but it was later on. When I was in college, I had an instructor who had, I don't remember what it's called, but his eyes focused independently.
Oh.
So they looked like two fish in a fishbowl. They were just swimming around all the time. They constantly moved around and stuff. It was he had these big, huge glasses. And one day I sat towards the front of the class on this side, and there was a guy in the back that he's yelling at. And he's yelling, and I'm like, he asked a question, I answered, and he goes, "Am I talking to you?" And I said, "I don't know. I can't tell." But the only time his eyes ever were straight were if he had a few drinks. So after we were done with his class, he went out with some of us and had some drinks, and his eyes were definitely, it relaxed the muscles or something.
Oh, okay. We had a guy in our archery club. He had the shakes. So he would get there at, I don't know, Sunday morning. We'd get up there like at 11 o'clock in the morning. His hand would be going like this. He's trying to hold the bow. You have a few, straight as an arrow. No twitching at all. That's really weird.
It's funny.
Let's see, someone asked me my favorite charity or cause.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, I'm going to give you one answer and then a second answer. So charity would be Wounded Warriors. Last year I did that for my Facebook birthday fundraiser thing to give them some cash. And then cause would be anything ocean conservation related.
Oh.
So when I was in kindergarten and Free Willy was a thing and the whale's name was Keiko, we got involved with the whole raising funds to build that pen over in Iceland for him to get him rehabilitated. So we raised a decent amount for my kindergarten class over that. So that was one thing. I've done the Adopt the Whales multiple times. So yeah, anything ocean conservationists and Wounded Warriors do my two.
Very cool. I could not have answered that one. That was a good one. There's Kenny. Kenny's here. I saw Danikin. I'm assuming it's Kenny because he said, well, no, it could be Danny because they said Rico, Stan, and Lefty. They didn't say our names. And Kenny says your name.
Full name.
What's that?
I always just say their full name because I'm bad at guessing which one it is.
I always assume that it's Kenny. I always just assume it is. But I've been told that if Kenny comes in, he might say your real name if he knows it, where Danny doesn't remember the name. So just a little. Let's see. You seeing any more? And again, everybody, hi. I see a bunch more people came in. There's Bottom Dwellers, Maria. I always say that to her. I do the West Side Story. Let's see.
Oh, M just asked us a question for both of us. One thing you would change about yourself.
He does that every stream.
Every
stream. That's his regular one. Go ahead. You got anything that you would change about yourself? Anything that stands out that?
I would shed a few pounds, get down to a little healthier weight. That would be the big thing I'd want to change. Though my blood pressure and everything else are good, so my doctors aren't super concerned. But I'm getting older, so my body won't change and my metabolism will slow down, and things aren't going to work as well.
It happens. It happens. I know it happens. And I last week I said basically not the same thing, but I have health issues. I have a chronic illness that stops me from doing a lot of the stuff that I like to do, like kayaking and things. And I'm going to still stick with that one. That's the thing I would change about myself, is just having my health back. Even though I was never like, super athlete or anything, I could go camping and hiking, like hike 15 miles, do stuff like that. Nowadays,
Camp.
I love camping.
I'll just throw the tent out in the backyard and camp out with the dog.
Yeah, we used to do that when the kids were young.
I miss kayaking. I haven't been kayaking in, 10 years.
I didn't go this year, and it's one of the first years I didn't go for. I used to do hundreds of miles every year because we live right on Lake Ontario, so my kayak is sitting right by the water. Even now, I did a video the other day where I walked to the bay and my kayak's sitting there covered with snow, which is a bad thing. Because I didn't bring it up this year and put it in the basement. But I love kayaking. All right, let's see. There's Zen Ginger. Hey, good to see you. Colored Guppies. Maria says she loves it. My dad used to sing it to me along with "How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria" from The Sound of Music.
Good film.
Every time I see Maria, I always do the Maria thing.
Sad about plumber dying though.
John McKenzie, socks with sandals?
No, I don't. What are we talking? Flip flops or sandals?
Either one.
Because I don't do flip flops. I do like the old school. People call them my Jesus sandals.
Yeah,
I like those. I don't like flip flops.
Like
I don't wear socks with them. If you've ever seen Dual Survival, I'm like, Dual Survival was a Discovery survival show. They had an Army Ranger and they had like a bush hippie who lives in the Arizona desert, whose name was Corey. Doesn't wear shoes, goes everywhere in a t-shirt and shorts. My dad calls me Corey because I'll walk out in the backyard where there's snow on the ground in just bare feet. So no socks for me with sandals.
That's funny because I think it was even last night we were talking about stuff and I was talking about Arizona, and I used to go barefoot on the blacktop in Arizona in the summertime, when it's 115 degrees. Yep. And no problem at all. My ex-wife actually put a cigarette out on my heel and I didn't even feel it. That's not why she's my ex-wife, but it was part of the reason. Let's see. Socks with sandals. Yeah, never for me. I never socks with sandals. I do like to wear sandals though. But, the flip-flops, when I was a kid, we called those thongs. So
isn't that an Aussie thing to call them that too?
I think like the Philippines and stuff, they call those thongs.
I've definitely heard them called that before. Yeah. And the first time someone said that, I was like, wait, what? And then it registered with me what they were. And I was like, oh, okay, that statement makes a little more sense now.
Yeah, because that could be very different, Zen Ginger, kayaking, dang, overachievers. I used to go tubing for like 8 hours down a river. Yep, we used to do that too. And again, that was in Arizona, the Salt River.
Tubing hurts my back.
It was really cool because the Salt River Indian Reservation ran the buses and everything. You'd pay like $5, and that would get you a huge inner tube, and you'd ride the buses all day long. So you'd go park in one place, get on the bus, go to the top of the river, tube for however they had a bunch of different stops. So you go as far as you want, and then you can go back and do it again. And they did it from dawn to dusk, every day in the summertime. So yeah, that was always a lot of fun. The radio station would come out, and they had these massive radios and stuff. They'd have guys actually tubing while they're on the air and stuff, so you could go up and talk to the
cool.
It was a fun time.
Zen, I'm well aware of Cody's full name. No need for the all caps. Don't yell at me.
Who is that? Cody who?
Cody, yeah.
Yeah.
Dual Survival. I downloaded all of them one time and I watched both seasons back to back. No sleep. In our other house, we had woods behind us that was private, so no one could go back there. I went back there. I made myself a A-frame house, made a fire, and just sat out there all day. Caught a frog, ate that for lunch, I think. It's a good time.
Let's see. What's one thing on your bucket list? Do you have a bucket list?
Well, yes, I would love to do international travel. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to the UK. I want to go to Ireland. 2 different places, so I have to specify there. Europe as a whole, just for the historical stuff. But definitely Japan's on the top of my bucket list, especially when it comes to traveling.
You know, traveling sounds awesome. I really do. I would like to go because I've been Canada, Mexico.
I've never left the United States.
I've been all over the United States, but Canada, Mexico is the only other places. And I would like to travel, but it just sounds so exhausting. So we need to get to the point where we have the Star Trek,
teleport across the country.
Exactly. Teleport me to Ireland, teleport me to Japan and stuff. Then I would go.
That would be so much easier. Even if we had shuttles, it just makes it faster.
I just don't like to travel. I hate it's not that I hate to be on an airplane, the flying part of it. I hate to be on an airplane because you're just shoved in with all these people.
Yeah, I would rather, if I can do it, I'd rather drive. I don't care if it's a 48-hour drive to go somewhere. I would rather drive. I love long distance driving.
I don't care for driving anymore either. Hey, there's Ed.
Hey, Ed.
I'll go to Japan with you, Lefty. Oh, I don't know if I showed you that. Did I?
I did. I saw it when we first got on.
Okay. Ed is in every stream of mine. Always there. Always there. All right. And favorite food or drink? We actually talked about that, RB Animals. And did you have a favorite food? You said just those foods that your grandma made.
Yeah. If we're doing favorite drink, now favorite non-alcoholic would probably be a nice iced tea. Favorite alcoholic would be a nice Long Island iced tea.
Long Island.
Favorite food, like overall, it's called chicken and rice. You boil your chicken and then you throw a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup in it. You throw sour cream in it. You put a thing of rice in it. You shred the chicken. It's another one of those comfort food things that we used to make.
Nice. I'm getting hungry. And I ate right before we started.
Bottom dollars, that would have been another one. Definitely space. If we do ever get commercial space travel, that's not, going to cost me my firstborn plus an arm and a leg. Yeah. I would love to go up into space. I'm a huge Trekkie, so.
Yeah, that would be cool too. I would love to experience that.
When we finally colonize the moon, or if they ever do that, there was something a few years back where they were doing like a Mars colonization reality show where you applied for it, and if you got into it, you were going to go on a spacecraft and actually go colonize Mars. And it was like going to be a whole game show thing over in one of the European countries. I don't think it ever got off the ground though. But now Elon Musk is planning on colonizing Mars, so who knows? I saw one of the Super Bowl ads was, "Do you want to go to Mars? Sign up for the Mars Pro." I'm like, what?
Yeah, they've been doing that for a few years. They're trying to get the right people to go. And
but then they're like, it's a one-way trip. You go, you're stuck there.
Yep, that's it. That's where you'll live.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind going just to say, hey, I colonized Mars.
All right, let's see. We saw the favorite drink. Long Island. That's how my wife's aunt, who's lived here her entire life, she has a very strong accent, and she's one of the very few people in this area that I know that has an accent, and she always says the Long Island iced teas. And then I have another friend who's, again, he's never left this area, and he has the most southern accent. He lived in upstate New York his entire life. He's never been out of upstate New York, but he always talks about Wednesday. He just has he's got a very.
I always get told that I have a mix of a Boston accent and a New York accent, like a southeastern New York. And like we live in Connecticut, so people don't think we have an accent. But then when I go away, or people are like, "Oh, you say coffee funny," or "You say roof funny," and then I hear it on the TV, I'm like, you know what? We do actually say these words weird compared to other people. So Connecticut, I think each state has its own somewhat. You could recognize it if you're not from there.
Yeah.
So like all my southern friends are like, haha, you say coffee funny. And I'm like, I don't mean to. It's just how I say coffee. Boston? Someone wanted me to say Boston again.
And certain places like Michigan, and Ed and I were just talking about this last night, but like most of Michigan doesn't really have much of an accent, but the people that live in the UP do, the Upper Peninsula, they do. I actually know a girl very well from there, and when I first met her, I lived in Arizona, and she had a very strong accent. There were certain things she said. There's a lot of places. I don't think Arizona has much of an accent because everybody there is from someplace else.
Yeah.
For the last 50 years, it's been like one of the fastest growing places in the United States. So everybody goes there from all these other places. So it's a conglomeration. I bet it'll take another couple of generations before it starts to get its own type of accent.
Let's see. M asked if I'd rather be a beta or a Corridora. Can I specify who my owner is in this question? Because if I could pick my owner, I'm picking Beta Fish and having Lisa be my owner.
That's a good question.
Otherwise, probably, I probably would still pick Beta.
That's a good question. He comes up with some good ones. All right. What time is it? Well, it's after 7:30. If anybody has anything else, just looking here. Can't say hippie without it blocking you? That's weird, M. Huh. That is weird. Why is hippie something that they block?
Got a bad job. Maybe people got offended by being called a hippie.
I am a hippie. I have no problem. I've been a hippie for a very long time.
My 5th grade teacher was a hippie. He was a history teacher, but he somehow managed to do 6 months out of the year on just the 1960s. Somehow got away with it.
Yeah.
We still because when I got to 7th grade, they were like, "Oh, you guys learned this stuff in 5th grade," and I'm like, "No, I didn't." She was like, "Well, who was your teacher?" I was like, "It was Mr. C." She's like, "Oh, well, that explains it." His whole classroom was just 60s paraphernalia everywhere.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot that happened in the 60s.
It was.
I mean, we went to the moon. We had the civil rights movement, equal rights amendment, although that was early 70s. I mean, there was a lot that happened in the 60s, comparatively speaking. I mean, when you think about other decades, it does seem to be one of the most
eventful.
Eventful. Yeah. Lefty, what is your go-to footwear in the summer? That's from Ed.
Barefoot.
Yes. I don't like to wear shoes, so
I hate it.
Same here. I try not to wear them at all. Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions. Bob, one of the 2 special needs betas Elisa sent me passed.
No. That's unfortunate.
All right. Excuse me as I scroll through here.
Creative hidden talents, Priscilla? Not really. I mean, I'm thinking off the cuff, I guess. Come up with a solution with, I don't know, MacGyver. Let's go with that. I can be a MacGyver if I have to at work. They have no solution. I come up with something, even though I'm at the bottom of the totem pole.
So you can think outside the box.
Yes.
To use a cliche.
No, I would never consider growing a Gandalf hairstyle, M.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't personally like having facial hair. No, I can't dance. I can't juggle. I can't something else, Priscilla. I'm sorry to let you down.
I've had, the nickname, all Bigfoot or the Lorax or Hippie, Chewbacca, Wookie, just all of that stuff. Grizzly Adams. That's pretty much been my nickname forever. I actually, when I first moved to New York, I worked in a place in Rochester at the, just the help desk stuff. And the guy who answered the phone and assigned tickets to us, this is a long story, but he was supposed to split up the tickets and give everybody an equal share for this one guy. He was our lawyer. He was our environmental lawyer. And he would talk to you for hours and hours. You could never get away. And this is back when you had beepers. Anytime somebody went down there, 15 minutes after they got there, they got a message on their beeper so that they could get away. Well, one week he gave me like 6 of those tickets. And you're supposed to spread them out, but he gave them all to me just to mess with me. So the last time he did it, when he went to lunch, that's when he sent the ticket to me, and then he went to lunch. Well, I went to his desk and turned everything upside down. Everything. His monitor, all the drawers, everything, the entire desk was, well, he had OCD and Tourette's.
Oh.
So when he came back in, and I knew this, but he gave me 6 tickets. When he came back in and he saw it, and he just shut down. He was like, kick, 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 kick. He just totally, his body shut down. But then he took a picture of it and sent it out to everybody. And he said, let the Wookiee win. I didn't get any more tickets for that guy for a while now. All right, let's see. Anything else here?
What am I looking forward to most? End of the I saw Ed's. That's what you're talking.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, the pandemic one is good.
Honestly, probably just not having to wear a mask anymore. They're just so darn uncomfortable, but I wear it because I have to, because I don't want to get my folks sick.
Yeah.
So probably that.
Movies are what I miss the most. We used to go not at least, but we used to go once a month. Me and the 2 kids, my wife and the 2 kids that still live at home, would go once a month to see a movie, and I miss that the most. Priscilla, oh, you're pretty smart. That's a rare talent too.
Thanks, Priscilla.
It's so answer Ed's there. That's a good one.
Oh, okay. Let me.
If Rico was a Pokemon, which one would he be?
If you were a Pokemon, which one would you be?
Sean said Orangu Guru.
Oh, Oranguru?
Oranguru?
That's a newer one. I'm going to go with an old staple and say you'd be a Venusaur.
Venusaur.
Venusaur, yeah, that's the...
With a V, not a P.
With a V.
Okay, because I wasn't going to search for the other one. I need to see what this looks like.
Put the spelling in the chat if you need it.
I got it there. Oh, so he's got a palm tree growing out of his back or head or something?
Yep.
and what about him evokes images of me? What's the correlation there?
I don't know. This is one of the first things that came to mind.
Maybe it's the palm tree. What is his power? What is he?
He's a big old grass dinosaur. So he shoots vines and leaves at people.
Oh, that's okay. I'll go with that. That's a good one. Venusaur. All right. Let's see. I think that's about it. Oh, Sean had one.
I think he wants you to look up Oranguru.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a question. Oh, of course, that one didn't have an image. Hold on. All I got was the cards. A purple monkey with what is that on his head? Is it a helmet?
I think it's just fur.
He's got like, it looks like he's wearing he looks like a bullet head in these images. Yeah, but he looks all somber and sad. He's like, that's not me. I can't stop smiling. All right. Well, it looks like we're winding down. It looks like all those the questions have come in. I'll give it a couple more minutes here. Lefty, this has been a lot of fun.
It was fun.
You know, one of these times I'd like to come on with you and Ed on your show as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we all have a lot in common, so it'll be fun to what's that, Bob? RB Animals and Collectibles is live with guest. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I'll have to check that out. Check that out. I don't think I said hi to Priscilla or Fish and Floral. I didn't say hi to almost everybody in there. So everybody, hi again. And yep, it looks like we're set. All right. So we will see you guys. Remember, next Monday, Ed and I do our Geeking Out, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lefty and Ed go on Friday at around 4:15.
Oh, 4:15. Yeah, we pushed it back a little bit because I get home from work a little later sometimes.
Okay. And again, those shows are very, very much alike. It's the same kind of thing. It's just people having fun and talking about, you know, a lot of it's geek culture. There's not a lot of fish talk, but you guys do a little more fish talk on yours, I think.
I mean, I try to do a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it is the fish fam, so it makes sense to have it. And that's it. I didn't know how to end this one. All right, guys. Everybody take care. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.